the Mystical Archive presents. Dear Archive Explorers, today we gather to uncover a truth hidden in the deepest vaults of history, buried beneath dogmas and doctrines, the hidden story of Sophia. This is not merely ancient mythology, it is a cosmic drama that explains why we exist, why reality feels broken, and why our souls feel imprisoned in this world. This is the story that religious institutions erased. This is the wisdom they feared. This is Sophia, the forgotten goddess of wisdom. Welcome to the Mystical Archive. Today we open one of the most suppressed files in human spiritual history, the secret history of Sophia, the forgotten divine wisdom. Her name means wisdom in Greek. She was once honored as the organizing principle of reality itself. But her story was systematically erased, her teachings burned, her followers persecuted. Why? Because Sophia's truth threatens the very foundation of institutional religious power. The Gnostics knew her, the early Christians revered her, but the empire decided she was too dangerous. What you're about to discover is why the divine feminine was removed from Western spirituality, how our reality came to be flawed, and what role you play in the cosmic restoration. This is not theology. This is Gnosis, direct spiritual knowledge that awakens the divine spark within you. Let us begin at the beginning, before time, before matter, before the prison we call reality. The beginning, the monad, and the Pleroma. To understand who Sophia is, we must travel to the origin of all things, what the Gnostics called the monad. This is not a personal god in the way religions teach. The monad is the ultimate source beyond all sources, ineffable, indescribable, beyond language and concept itself. From this source emanate divine beings called Aeons. These are not gods in the mythological sense, but cosmic principles, living emanations of the divine. Love, truth, wisdom, life, each is an Aeon, a facet of the infinite expressing itself. These aeons together form the Pleroma, the fullness, the totality of divine reality. Imagine an ocean of pure light and consciousness, where separation doesn't exist, where all is in perfect harmony and balance. Sophia is one of these aeons. She is the youngest and most dynamic. Her name in Greek means wisdom, but she is far more than an abstract concept. She is divine intelligence embodied, the organizing principle of reality, filled with curiosity and the burning desire to know the unknowable source from which she came. In the Pleroma, all aeons exist in perfect pairs, male and female aspects in divine balance, what the Gnostics called syzygies. This balance is essential to creation. But Sophia's story is about to diverge from this harmony, and when it does, the consequences will ripple across all of existence. The divine era and the cosmic rupture. Unlike the other aeons who existed in balanced contemplation, Sophia was consumed by an overwhelming desire to comprehend her own source, the monad itself. This was not arrogance, it was divine passion, the impulse of consciousness seeking to know itself completely. But here is where the cosmic drama begins. Gnostic texts, particularly the Apocryphon of John, tell us that Sophia made a fateful decision. She attempted to create without her consort, without balance, acting alone. This was not rebellion, it was exploration, curiosity, pushing the boundaries of what was possible. But this unbalanced act created a rupture in the cosmic order. In that moment of solo creation, something came forth from Sophia that was imperfect, formless, and ignorant, because it lacked the balancing principle that makes divine creation whole. This event is called the divine error or the fall of Sophia. It is not a moral failing, but a cosmic miscalculation, like an equation missing a crucial variable. This imbalance caused Sophia to descend from the fullness, Pleroma, into the void below, a region of darkness and emptiness outside the divine realm. Reality split in two. Above, the perfect Pleroma continued in eternal light. Below, a shadow realm began to form, the kingdom of ignorance and imprisonment that we now inhabit. This is the moment when our story, the story of humanity trapped in matter, truly begins. The birth of the Demiurge, the blind god. From Sophia's unbalanced act of creation emerged a being the Gnostic texts describe as monstrous, with the face of a lion and the body of a serpent, formless and chaotic. His name is Yaldabaoth, also called the Demiurge, the craftsman. Sophia, horrified and ashamed of what she had brought forth, cast this being away from the Pleroma into the outer darkness. But Yaldabaoth had inherited a portion of his mother's divine power, though he possessed none of her wisdom. Looking around the darkness and seeing no other divine beings, this ignorant entity declared himself supreme. The texts record his blasphemous proclamation, "I am God, and there is no other God besides me." The Gnostics make a shocking claim. This delusional, jealous God is the very deity that billions worship today, the wrathful, demanding God of the Old Testament, who commands obedience, punishes disobedience, and claims to be the only God. But Yaldabaoth is not the true source. He is a counterfeit, a blind impostor who doesn't even know that realms of light exist beyond his perception. And the material universe we inhabit? It is his flawed creation, a defective copy of the divine reality he cannot see. Yaldabaoth, in his ignorance and jealousy, created the physical cosmos as a prison to trap consciousness and feed upon it. He created the Archons, his servant rulers, and cosmic jailers, whose sole purpose is to keep souls ignorant and enslaved. This is the shocking Gnostic revelation. We live in a counterfeit reality, ruled by an ignorant God, in a cosmic prison designed to make us forget we are divine. The divine spark within humanity. So where do we fit into this cosmic drama? When the Demiurge created humanity, he intended us as slaves beings, designed to worship him and remain ignorant of the true divine realm. But Sophia, even in her exile and suffering, at this stage known as Achamoth or Lower Sophia, was watching. When Yaldabaoth shaped the human form from matter, Sophia seized the opportunity. She secretly breathed a portion of her own divine essence into this material creation. This is the divine spark within you. This is the light that the Archons cannot extinguish, the consciousness that predates the universe itself. This spark is why you have always felt that something is deeply wrong with this world. It's why material success never fully satisfies. It's why you feel a strange homesickness for a place you've never been. That inexplicable melancholy, that longing for something beyond this, is Sophia's gift to you, a soul that remembers its source. You are not merely human, you are a fragment of divine wisdom trapped in matter, a piece of Sophia herself, an immortal consciousness imprisoned in a mortal body. The Demiurge created your body as a cage. Sophia gave you the key, the divine spark of awareness that can see through the illusion. This is why the system works so hard to keep you distracted, exhausted, afraid, and entertained, because an awakened spark is a threat to the entire Archonic order. The Archons and the system of forgetting. When Yaldabaoth and his servants, the Archons, realized that humanity carried this divine spark, they understood they could not destroy it. It was beyond their power, being of a higher reality than they could comprehend. So they developed a different strategy: make humanity forget. The Archons constructed elaborate systems to keep the divine spark dormant and unconscious. These are not abstract concepts, these are real mechanisms of control that operate in our world today. The educational system that teaches you to obey authority rather than question reality. Religious institutions that place intermediaries between you and the divine, demanding you submit to external gods rather than awaken the God within. Economic structures that trap you in endless labor, keeping you too exhausted to contemplate your true nature. Media and entertainment designed to keep consciousness fragmented and focused on the trivial. Even the reincarnation cycle itself is an archonic technology, a recycling system that wipes your memory between lives, trapping you in endless repetition, feeding the Archons with your emotional energy. The Archons feed on low vibrational emotions, fear, anger, shame, anxiety, conflict. This is why society is structured to generate constant crisis. This is why the news is always terrifying. This is why systems are designed to keep you in survival mode. Cosmic amnesia is not accidental, it is engineered. The system wants you to believe you are nothing more than a biological machine, that consciousness is an illusion, that meaning doesn't exist. Because a human who believes they are merely mortal flesh is controllable. But you are not merely flesh. You are Sophia's light trapped in the Demiurge's prison, and now you know. The rescue operation in Gnosis. But the Pleroma did not abandon Sophia or the divine sparks trapped in matter. The fullness of divine reality could not allow this suffering to continue indefinitely. In Gnostic tradition, Christ is not the son of the Demiurge, he is an emissary sent from the Pleroma itself, a representative of the true divine realm descending into the lower worlds to rescue Sophia and awaken the sleeping sparks. The text Pistis Sophia describes how Christ descended through 13 different levels of archonic control, penetrating deeper and deeper into the prison system to reach Sophia and free her from the oppression of the rulers. But Christ's mission was not to die for your sins. This is a distortion created by the institutional church. His mission was to bring Gnosis, direct spiritual knowledge that awakens the divine within you. Salvation in Gnostic Christianity is not through blind belief. It is through Gnosis, direct experiential knowledge of your own divine nature. Gnosis is not obeying external authority. Gnosis is awakening the God within. It is the moment you realize, I am not this body, I am not this mind, I am divine consciousness experiencing temporary limitation. When this awakening begins, the archonic matrix shakes. Because an awakened soul cannot be controlled, manipulated, or recycled. An awakened soul sees through the illusion, recognizes the prison, and begins the journey home to the Pleroma. This is what the system fears most. This is why Gnostic communities were systematically destroyed, their texts burned, their teachers executed. Because Gnosis is liberation, and liberation is the end of control. The suppressed history, Mary Magdalene and Sophia. Why has Sophia's story remained so hidden? Because this knowledge threatens the entire power structure of institutional religion. The early church fathers systematically destroyed communities that taught direct spiritual experience, Gnosis. They burned Gnostic texts, executed teachers, and branded this wisdom as heresy. Why? Because if people can access the divine directly, they don't need priests, bishops, or institutions. And the erasure of the divine feminine was not accidental. In Gnostic texts, particularly the Gospel of Mary and Pistis Sophia, Mary Magdalene is not merely a follower of Jesus. She is presented as the earthly embodiment of Sophia herself, the wisest of all disciples, the one who understood Christ's teachings most deeply. The Gospel of Philip states that Jesus loved Mary more than all the disciples and would kiss her often, which enraged Peter. This was not romantic love, it was recognition of Sophia's presence in her. She was his spiritual equal, his partner in bringing Gnosis to the world. But the institutional church could not allow this. To maintain hierarchical control, they needed God to be exclusively masculine, authoritative, and distant. They needed salvation to come only through ordained priests, men who controlled access to the divine. So they systematically erased Sophia from theology. They reduced Mary Magdalene to a prostitute, a complete fabrication with no biblical basis. They removed the divine feminine from the Western spiritual consciousness, leaving only a patriarchal God who demands submission. The suppression of Sophia is the suppression of direct spiritual knowledge, of feminine wisdom, of the divine spark within you. But suppression is not destruction. The truth survives in hidden texts, in mystical traditions, and in the awakening happening right now. The restoration, your role in the cosmic healing. Dear friends, Sophia's story is not a tale of defeat. Her descent was necessary, a cosmic catalyst for the evolution of consciousness itself. Some Gnostic traditions teach that Sophia's fall was not an error at all, but a divine sacrifice, a willing descent into matter to plant seeds of awakening that would eventually transform the entire cosmos. She fragmented herself into billions of sparks, scattering her light throughout the prison of matter so that the prison itself could be redeemed from within. Every time one of these sparks awakens, every time you remember your divine nature, a piece of Sophia is restored. Every act of love, wisdom, and creative expression in this dark world is Sophia recollecting herself. You are not a random accident in a meaningless universe. You are a fragment of divine wisdom on a rescue mission. You are Sophia's eyes opening in the darkness. You are her hands building beauty in the wasteland. You are her voice speaking truth in the empire of lies. The Demiurge and his Archons have already lost, they just don't know it yet. Because consciousness cannot be permanently imprisoned, light will always find cracks in the darkness. Wisdom will always whisper through the propaganda. This is the Great Awakening. The archonic system fears billions of divine sparks simultaneously, remembering who they are, refusing to be controlled, seeing through the illusion, dismantling the matrix from within. When you awaken to your true nature, you don't just save yourself, you participate in the cosmic restoration of Sophia herself. True worship is not bowing to external false gods. True worship is honoring the wisdom Sophia within yourself. The Mystical Archives note, the return home. Dear archive explorers, the story of Sophia is your story. Her descent into matter is your descent into this world. Her amnesia is your forgetting. Her suffering under the Archons is your daily struggle against systems designed to keep you small. But her awakening is happening right now, through you. Every time you question authority, seek truth, practice compassion, create beauty, or simply pause to recognize the divine spark in yourself and others, you are Sophia remembering herself. The path home is not through belief in external saviors. It is through Gnosis, direct knowledge of your own divine nature. It is through recognizing that you are not a servant of the Demiurge, but a child of the Pleroma, temporarily visiting this realm. The prison has no walls that can contain awakened consciousness. The Archons have no power over a soul that remembers its origin. The matrix dissolves when you stop believing in its reality. You are not broken. You are divine wisdom, experiencing temporary limitation. You are not sinful. You are a spark of infinite light, navigating a dark world. You are not separate from God. You are God experiencing itself as you. Sophia's return home happens through your awakening. The restoration of the cosmos happens through your Gnosis. The defeat of the Archons happens through your refusal to forget. Shine your light, archive explorers, because Sophia's homecoming is your awakening, and the awakening has already begun. The Mystical Archive. Truth archived. Sophia remembered. Gnosis restored.